I felt myself waking up. I've heard people talk about that moment between sleep and wakefulness, that place where everything is peaceful and happy. I searched for it, but it wasn't there. Just a cold emptiness and pain. I didn't want to open my eyes. I didn't want to wake up and face everything that had happened. For a moment, I thought that if I could just keep my eyes closed, it wouldn't be real. But the hollow ache in my chest was no dream, and I could feel the dried tears on my face. I don't think I'd ever really felt hate before. Anger? Sure. Outrage? But a hatred that burned cold and filled me with a rage and a hunger for violence? A drive to hurt and smash and rend and scream? This was new. I just needed a target. I tested this new feeling, rubbing it in with my hands and drawing it around myself like a heavy coat, luxuriating in it, flexing into it, feeling the perfect fit as it slid into place, like a pair of Guyland's boots. Demetrian. The writers, too, but Demetrian was their architect. He was the one who would pay the most. I was going to rip his heart out.
"Are you awake?"
The voice was soft. Female. That wouldn't do. I wanted something hard to fight against. I opened my eyes and looked for the source. She stood in a doorway looking at me. She was Ulane Shinora. Her hair was black, and she looked at me with violet eyes that reminded me of someone, but I couldn't place it. "Where am I?" I croaked. She cocked her head at me.
"You're at Odaro, Master Demetrian's estate. Are you injured? I'm not really much of a healer, but I have some small talent."
I shook my head. Even if I'd been injured, I would have refused. I didn't want to feel good.
"If you can stand," she said, "we should get you a bath and some clothes."
I looked down. I'd been stripped of my armor and leathers, down to my sports bra and panties. "Where are my things?" I sat up on the small bed I found myself on. The room was hardly bigger than the bed, maybe 4 feet by 7 feet at best, and the bed was just a pallet on the floor.
"Taken,"
she shrugged.
"Gone? Who knows? Discarded, perhaps? Or maybe he saved them to torment you with. How much does he hate you?"
"Not as much as I hate him," she sighed.
"What is your name, child?"
"I'm not a child." My voice was low and hard. She'd done nothing to deserve it.
"No,"
she shook her head.
"I suppose you aren't."
"How could I be?" I demanded. "I've fought assassins and riders. I've been trained and promoted to stick in the Sulariano military. I led a caravan to Bokorovo and back. I've killed 7 people. 7! And I've lost..." My breath caught. "I've lost..." I shook my head as if to clear away the emotions threatening to engulf me. Focus on hatred.
"I understand,"
she nodded. "Do you?" I snapped at her. "Yes!" Her eyes had gone suddenly hard. Then they shifted to some inner memory and turned sad. She blinked away the memory.
"Yes, I do. But it was very long ago. Your wounds are still fresh."
She looked at me searchingly.
"Do you want to tell me what happened?"
My mouth moved, but no sound came out, like a fish out of water.
"It's too soon,"
she shook her head.
"When you are ready, and if you wish it, I will be here to listen. I'm Ree. Part of my job is to help new arrivals get settled in. We are not so different, you and I. We are neither of us here by our own choice, servants of Master Demetrian."
"Servants? You mean slaves?" That surprised me. I had assumed I was a prisoner. Actually, I'd expected he would have killed me. But a slave?
"We aren't permitted to say that word," she told me. "We are servants. Look at your wrists."
I raised my hands to look at the bracelets that had been locked into place. They weren't the same. One looked familiar. I held it up. "This is a tracker, right?"